5,000 years ago, when the pyramids were still young, these Beckett collector magazines defined your childhood. In the early 2000s, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon magazines were a hot commodity. And if you're like me, the Beckett series is a core memory that you may have forgotten you had. And nowadays, these relics are very much a time capsule of what was. Wait, I'm sorry, how much was a Legend of Blue Eyes booster box? I think I'm gonna be sick. But in all seriousness, if you were a little kid in the 2001 dial-up computer era, this was how you got your Yu-Gi-Oh! News and knowledge. And also a sort of wish list of what your goals were as an aspiring collector. And if you were anything like me back then you didn't even know you were becoming a collector. Rather, you just loved the IP and wanted to learn as much about Yu-Gi-Oh! As you possibly could. These magazines were a lot of fun back then because they had a lot of kid nostalgia baked into them. Yes, they were advertising different stores and sales, but this was about introducing kids to Yu-Gi-Oh! And showcasing and celebrating the love that people had for it, while also educating the masses on what it meant to be a real-life duelist. I guess to summarize, Beckett magazines were firing on all cylinders to define what it meant to be an actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Fanatic. And for every other month, they would tell us the next big product or toy that we needed to buy. I really wanted that Blue Eyes shiny. Oh. Looking back, it is insane seeing the attention to detail in pricing every single individual product and card. Also, off topic, but before Battle City was in the West, there was a fight disc. Did anyone own this? And honestly, my inner child can scream that about almost everything in this book. And that, in and of itself, really shows the grip that this magazine had on my childhood. Like seriously, look how much I wrote and drew on top of this. These were my holy grails. I took them everywhere. And it all started with these bad boys. Something that some of you guys might not remember is that the earliest issues of Yu-Gi-Oh! When it was in its infancy over in the West was a conjoint magazine with Pokemon. There were only a handful of these, but I can't stress enough how if you were about 5 or 6 in 2001, it really felt like Beckett magazines were inside your brain. Pokemon was everything to me, but as Yu-Gi-Oh! Grew, so did my interest, and they recognized that. It is crazy looking at these though, seeing old advertisements for things like Metal Raiders, or a synopsis of Legend of Blue Eyes. How nuts is that? Yu-Gi-Oh! Was definitely the new kid on the block, and it's really fascinating seeing these issues and how Yu-Gi-Oh! Expanded and grew. And that's not even mentioning the Pokemon side of things, which is a whole other trip, let me tell you. Advertising Eevee's new forms, Umbreon and Espeon, while talking about the new game, Pokemon Crystal. I'm sorry, how much was a first ed base set of Pokemon cards? Yet again, I think I'm gonna be sick. Anyway, this was the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Issue, and I've owned it since I was a little kid, and I decimated it with my love, let me tell you. And 25 years later, I cannot tell you how easily this transports me back to an era where things were just easier. And not to get all existential, but I don't know. Nowadays, that's pretty cool. Plus, I genuinely feel humbled and honored that something that I worshipped as a kid, I get to showcase and share with you guys all these years later. And it doesn't matter if you were into Yu-Gi-Oh! Back then or just not old enough to remember these. What does matter is for a small stint in the early 2000s, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was more than just cardboard that you can buy and sell. It was a lifestyle that meant a lot to a lot of people.